Hi there guys, so interestingly or rather more annoying, apparently Bob Arum has explained that Jarrel Miller is a possible opponent for Tyson Fury after Deontay Wilder. Yes, after Deontay Wilder, because obviously Tyson Fury must grant Deontay Wilder his rematch because that was in the contract. And now apparently Jarrel Miller is being lined up as a potential opponent for Tyson Fury, and that would be a voluntary defense, not a mandatory, a voluntary, because obviously Jarrel Miller is not high enough ranked to be a mandatory to Tyson Fury. Dillian Whyte is the mandatory. And I just have to say, this is absolute madness. How can this guy go from failing a drugs test, not fighting at all, and then go into a Tyson Fury fight? I mean, it's just absolute lunacy. I mean, you can understand if he fights his way up and becomes mandatory. He's a drugs cheat still. He's never ever going to live that down. But he's got himself into a position to fight for a world title, so there's nothing that they can do. They have to fight him. But as a voluntary, I'm not happy with that. I don't believe that should happen at all because Dillian Whyte is mandatory. And obviously you have the Anthony Joshua fight undisputed, that should happen. And obviously Dillian Whyte needs his opportunity, as I said. So there are two clear fights for Tyson Fury after Deontay Wilder, and that is Dillian Whyte, then Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua has to deal with Kubrat Pulev, his IBF mandatory, then his WBO mandatory, Alexander Usyk, and Tyson Fury must deal with Deontay Wilder, then his mandatory, Dillian Whyte. So they are both 2 fights away from this undisputed fight, which works quite well. Finally, something could be breaking the way for undisputed. Obviously, Tyson Fury has his rematch with Deontay Wilder, and around the same sort of time, most likely Anthony Joshua will be fighting Kubrat Pulev. Obviously, there is no working date for that fight, but ultimately I think it will be around a similar time to Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder. So they have that fight. Then Tyson Fury has to defend against Dillian Whyte, his mandatory challenger, because I do believe that Tyson Fury will beat Deontay Wilder again. So they both have 2 fights, a mandatory for Tyson Fury and a mandatory fight against Deontay Wilder for a rematch. And obviously Anthony Joshua has 2 mandatories to deal with, setting up undisputed later next year. So obviously we don't know who that will be against at the moment because anyone could win, anyone can lose in boxing, especially in the heavyweight division. But the idea of Jarrel Miller getting his opportunity at Tyson Fury after he fights Deontay Wilder is just crazy because Tyson Fury has his mandatory anyway in February 2021, Dillian Whyte. So how can he get out of that? I mean, is he going to ask for an exception for a voluntary against Jarrel Miller? No, probably not. I mean, it is worth noting that Tyson Fury isn't the one who is saying this about Jarrel Miller. He's not saying that he wants to fight Jarrel Miller next. He's not saying that that is even a possibility. It is his promoter, Bob Arum. Because obviously Bob Arum has given Jarrel Miller an opportunity. He has signed him to Top Rank. So that means obviously he's going to try and get him a big fight. And the biggest fight he can get him is against Tyson Fury. So he is doing his job as a promoter to get Jarrel Miller, his client, the biggest fight possible. But it's just madness. I don't see how a drugs cheat can go from that massive opportunity that he screwed up against Anthony Joshua, fail a drugs test, then come straight back and walk into a world title fight against Tyson Fury for the WBC world title. It's just crazy. And I just think it's blatant disrespect for the sport of boxing. It just shows that if you do this, if you fail a drugs test, it's all right. You come back in a year's time and you get this big opportunity again. When that is not what should be happening. He should serve a ban and he should show some remorse for what he has done. Not go straight into a world title fight after failing a drugs test. That is just not right at all. And it definitely does not send the right message because other fighters will look at that and think, maybe it's not such a bad thing to cheat anyway. Because obviously, even if they are found out of failing a drugs test, then the media will catch on to that. And then all of a sudden, for the wrong reasons, they will be a big name. So there is money to be made off of their name. Meaning that if they are a big name, whether they are the villain or not, they are going to bring money to the table because realistically, there is no such thing as bad publicity. So they are going to bring money to the table, so they will get a big fight. So fighters who fight in America, because obviously in the UK we have UCAD and they can ban fighters for a lengthy period as well. So that will keep them on an even keel. But in America, there is no single commission that can ban them. There are separate commissions for each state, meaning that they can fight anywhere around the US as long as they get a license. Because in America, there is rarely drug testing unless they bring in VADA, which is a voluntary anti-doping agency. Other than that, there is no mandatory drug testing in America unless they both sign up to VADA. But that, as I said, is voluntary. They don't have to do it. Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. No drug testing at all. So as you can see, it's easy for fighters in America to get away with this. Now, I'm not tarnishing them all with the same brush. Some of them are clean, and I'm not saying that they are drugs cheats. I'm not saying all of them are drugs cheats. But there are drugs cheats in America who are getting away with it when they shouldn't. And they know if they get caught, they aren't going to be banned. And their name will be elevated in the media, meaning that they can walk straight back in to a big fight because they will bring publicity to the table. So this kind of situation with Jarrel Miller kind of encourages them to continue cheating. It does not send the right message. That is why I don't believe that Jarrel Miller should get his opportunity at Tyson Fury. He should not be able to go from failing a drugs test to coming back and going straight back in to a huge fight for a world title and make loads of money. That is just wrong. That is just crazy. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Bob Arum, Tyson Fury's promoter, and Jarrel Miller's new promoter has explained that Jarrel Miller could be lined up as a potential opponent for Tyson Fury after Deontay Wilder. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.